New emails have emerged which show Sarah, the Duchess of York, apologising to Jeffrey Epstein for publicly disparaging him after he was convicted of sex offences. In her correspondence to the billionaire paedophile, she wrote, "I know you feel hellaciously let down by me, and I must humbly apologise to you and your heart for that." She wrote that she only condemned him because she was worried that her friendship with him could ruin her career as a children's book author, but that her apology to him came from the truth of her heart. Now, this is after she'd given an interview saying she would never, ever, repeat, never, ever see him or speak to him again. So as scandal after scandal hits the king's younger brother, is it time for the rest of the royals to cut him and his ex-wife just out of the picture altogether? Let's talk to Afua first on this one. She's our royal expert. We saw their behaviour at the Duchess of Kent's funeral only last week.
Yeah.
How would you describe that behaviour for a start?
Well, I mean, Prince Andrew and the Duchess of York just look very comfortable when they are, out in public with the royals. They were almost front and centre. And that is a massive embarrassment. It's a massive embarrassment.
But not only were they front and centre, they seemed to be cracking jokes,
yeah,
didn't they? Were
absolutely.
Laughing, giggling, sort of guffawing. The Duchess of Kent's family, quite rightly, in mourning, looking very sad, looking very solemn, looking, as you're meant to look at a funeral.
It's a funeral,
and Andrew and Fergie, right in the front, with the cameras right on their faces, just seemed to be at a totally different event,
from everybody else. And I actually said that to someone. I was like, do they know that they're at a funeral? Because it didn't seem like they did. And this is the epitome, I think, of Andrew and Sarah continuously making bad judgment, bad calls, and being toxic throughout, not just now, they've forever been like this in their marriage and afterwards. And Sarah has stayed true to Andrew, stayed loyal to him, even after his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted paedophile financier who died in 2019, and his alleged relationship with Virginia Giuffre. She's defended him consistently the whole time. And that's hugely problematic. It's been hugely problematic for King Charles III and for Prince William. Tried to get him out of Royal Lodge. He's suddenly managed to find finance for that so he can stay there. It's all about trying to get him out of the public eye. He has been stripped of his royal titles. Notable that Sarah, the Duchess of York, we still describe her as a Duchess of York and she still uses the HRH title. But as this Epstein scandal just keeps going on and on and on, every time we get an email dump, something else is exposed about Prince Andrew. And I think we have got to the point now where King Charles III has got to say, actually, enough is enough. You can't remove Andrew from the royal family completely, and stripping someone of all their royal titles can be quite difficult. Constitutionally, it can get quite murky. And, he is the king's brother. He's never not going to be by genetics, DNA and whatever. But there comes a point where, and I think we're probably at that point now, where we don't need to see him at all.
All right, let's bring Cristo into this. Now, we must remember, and I'm sure most people do, that, Edward VIII, after the abdication, was sent pretty much into exile. He barely set foot in this country again. He spent his later years in Paris. It would be possible, presumably, to find somewhere delightful for the Yorks to live, far, far away, where we don't have to see them darkening our doors or the royal family's doors again.
And I'm sure if there was enough finance involved, they'd probably, love another ski lodge somewhere where they can go and sort of spend time. I think that they are incredibly stupid, and I think that they are incredibly entitled. And the real issue here, the Duchess of York says, look, the reason I did this was because Jeffrey Epstein was threatening to sue me. It was going to have all of these problems. And so therefore I had to, on advice, I had to pacify him. I can forgive anyone that might have been taken in by Jeffrey Epstein and had made misjudgments then. But the moment that you knew what he was accused of and how heinous that was...
Not just accused, but found guilty.
But found guilty of as well. To then, Andrew meet up with him to say, oh, I don't want to be your friend anymore because he's too honourable. Now, Sarah Ferguson, albeit on this advice, apparently, to send these emails, that's the most damning thing. And I think I agree with you. You can't get rid of them from the family. there are going to be family occasions where they are going to be there, funerals and the like. However, I think that there should be a massive now restriction on them being at any kind of public event beyond those things. And there should be something said to them. You're quite right with what you say about how they were at that funeral, where I think they kind of felt like they were enjoying the limelight while they were there. It felt really just icky.
I mean, I feel as if this latest leaked email, Nicola, is really damning, because you can see, we saw and heard what the Duchess said in the interview. I'm never, ever going to see or have contact with this man again. Never. And then she says something like, how many times do you need to hear it? Quite impatiently. I said never, ever going to see him again. And a matter of weeks later, she writes him this email apologising to him, a convicted paedophile, calling him her most precious of friends. I mean, that's just deceptive. It's kind of playing and taking the public for fools, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't want any family member of mine that was going to support a paedophile at any of my events, even my funeral. So, you know, personally, I do think we can, we can get rid of them from family events, because I wouldn't want them there. I hope no one buys her book. I mean, a children's author that is, not publicly, privately, so that we don't know about it, supporting him. It's just,
And a mother of two daughters. A mother of two daughters. And you think, and she was writing him this grovelling, sycophantic email, apologising to him. What was she thinking? And wasn't she lucky her daughters have been so protected that they weren't in that vulnerable position that the girls and children that were targeted by him were in? I mean, it just seems extraordinarily insensitive and lacking in empathy.
Is this, though, I mean, I'm really not trying to defend what's such stupid behaviour, but is it just that, though? Are they just so entitled and stupid from having everything done for them and being pampered so much all their lives that this was about idiocy rather than intent to try and humiliate?
But I also think they're obviously being given some awful advice, because, she's saying that it was upon advice that she took. That's why she sent the email, because he was trying to sue her, because he said that she said he was a paedophile, which he was.
Yeah.
And that's why she wrote him this email, to try and defend herself so he wouldn't sue her. And she sent the email, she said she sent the email under advice. Who the heck is advising you to do that?
I don't know, but I mean, it's a most peculiar excuse stroke explanation, because how can you defame a convicted paedophile by calling them a paedophile?
By calling them what they were convicted of.
Having been convicted. So how he could possibly have had his reputation defamed in any way is absolutely unfathomable. So therefore, it's most peculiar.
Yeah.
Let's not forget he paid some of her debts
£15,000
previously as well, which also makes it...
Fresh revelations have thrown the royal family back into the spotlight. And this time, it's not Harry and Meghan Sussex being unfairly dragged through the mud. Newly uncovered emails show Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York, apologising to Jeffrey Epstein after his conviction for sex offences. Yes, instead of standing firm against a man whose name is forever stained by his crimes, Sarah was busy sending him heartfelt apologies, saying she had let him down and that her words came from the truth of her heart. It sounds less like a dignified royal and more like a bad audition for a soap opera. The problem here isn't just the email itself, though that's bad enough. It's the staggering hypocrisy. Sarah had previously gone on record, swearing she would never again see or speak to Epstein. Weeks later, she was backtracking faster than a politician caught with their hand in the cookie jar. It's astonishing how quickly principles can vanish when reputations and money are on the line. Even more outrageous is how differently this situation has been handled compared to Harry and Meghan's story. The Sussexes chose to prioritise their mental health, their marriage, and their right to raise their children in peace. For that, the tabloids crucified them. Meanwhile, Andrew and Sarah are strolling into funerals, smiling and giggling like they've arrived at a comedy club, while the rest of the mourners looked appropriately solemn. And what does the press do? They shrug, mumble about poor judgment, and carry on. If Harry and Meghan had acted that way, the Daily Mail would still be publishing angry columns about it 20 years from now. Let's be honest. King Charles can try to push Andrew into the background, but scandals like this don't just fade away. They hang over the monarchy like a dark cloud. And William, who already has trouble connecting with people the way Harry does, is stuck inheriting this baggage whether he likes it or not. It's like passing down the family jewels, except instead of diamonds, you're left with tabloid scandals and Epstein connections. What makes this all the more laughable is Sarah's excuse that she was simply acting on advice. If your advisors are telling you to apologize to Epstein, then you don't need lawyers. You need new friends. The absurdity of it all would be funny if it wasn't so utterly disgraceful. And the cherry on top. She continues to market herself as a children's book author. Nothing says, "Trust me with your kid's imagination," like publicly grovelling to a convicted predator. Contrast that with Harry and Meghan Sussex, who are building foundations, uplifting communities, and raising awareness for causes that actually matter. They're proving that you can live with integrity and purpose without clinging to outdated titles. Meanwhile, Andrew and Sarah are stuck in a self-made swamp of entitlement and bad decisions, dragging down the very crown the tabloids claim they're so eager to protect. If the monarchy truly cares about its image, maybe it's time to stop vilifying the Sussexes and start dealing with the real scandals sitting in their own backyard. Because at this point, trying to make Harry and Meghan the villains while brushing off Andrew's repeated embarrassments isn't just unfair, it's laughable. The British public deserves transparency, not cover-ups, and the royal family needs to realise that loyalty to truth matters far more than loyalty to a crumbling image. And that's where we'll leave it for today. What do you think? Should Andrew and Sarah finally be shown the door once and for all? Or will the palace keep playing its favourite game of denial? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to hit subscribe for more Sussex's Spotlight coverage, and if you'd like to support our work, consider showing some love with a super thanks. Because here we lift up Harry and Meghan Sussex for their courage and purpose, while calling out the hypocrisy of those who'd rather apologise to Epstein than stand up for what's right.